In a village by the tall baobab tree, an elder's voice and whisper sets us free.
In the small village of Onitani, there lived a woman known as Aunty Wura. She was famous for two things: her vibrant, colorful wrappers and her knack for storytelling. However, it wasn't just her stories that made her notorious. It was her mouth. Wura had the kind of tongue that could twist the simplest of words into the most complicated web of confusion. It all started with the local market, where Wura would sit with her basket of spices and herbs. Her stall was always crowded, not because her goods were better, but because people were drawn to her tales. She had a gift of speech that could make the mundane sound magical. Yet, those who knew her well were cautious. A single sentence from Aunty Wura could set off a chain of events that no one could predict. One fateful day, the village chief, Chief Olumide, announced that his son Ade was to be married to a beautiful maiden from a neighboring village. The wedding preparations were in full swing, and the entire village buzzed with excitement. Aunty Wura, of course, had a front row seat to all the happenings, but as usual, her mouth couldn't stay idle. While sitting with the women at the stream, she casually remarked, "Hey, have you seen the girl Ade is marrying? I have heard she's not from a good family. Some say her mother was once accused of witchcraft." The women gasped in horror, their mouths wide open. "What are you saying, Aunty Wura? Is it true?" Wura shrugged, a sly smile creeping across her face. "I don't know, but you know how these things go. People talk." By the time the story reached the village square, it had grown legs. People whispered that Ade's bride was cursed and that her family brought bad luck. Some even claimed that the wedding should be cancelled for the safety of the village. The once joyous atmosphere turned tense, and people began to side-eye the bride-to-be. Chief Olumide, hearing the rumors, summoned the council. They had to decide whether to continue with the wedding or call it off. Meanwhile, Aunty Wura sat back, sipping palm wine, watching the confusion unfold. But that wasn't the end of her meddling. The day before the wedding, as she was walking through the village, she passed by the groom's family home. She overheard Ade's younger brother, Kola, talking to a friend about the bride price. Feeling mischievous, she couldn't resist adding her own twist. "Kola, my dear," Wura said sweetly, "I hear they are planning to demand an extra goat and more gold coins at the last minute. These things can be tricky, you know. I hope your family is ready." Kola's eyes widened in panic. "Extra goat? More gold coins? Why didn't anyone tell me?" Wura shrugged. "I just thought you should know. Better prepare yourself, my dear." Kola rushed inside, worried about the looming bride price hike. Within minutes, his family was in disarray, arguing over how to handle the supposed new demands. Meanwhile, Aunty Wura continued her stroll, smiling to herself as the village descended further into chaos. By nightfall, the once peaceful village was divided. Some villagers insisted the wedding was a bad omen, while others argued it was all baseless gossip. The chief's family was on edge, unsure of what the next day would bring. As the night grew darker, no one noticed that Aunty Wura's words had sown seeds of doubt, all while she sat comfortably in her small hut, awaiting the climax of the confusion she has caused. But what no one knew was that this wasn't the first time Aunty Wura's tongue had stirred trouble, and it certainly wouldn't be the last. The confusion was only just beginning, and the village would soon have to confront the chaos caused by Aunty Wura's words. But what would happen next? Would the wedding be cancelled? Would the village discover the true source of the rumors? Let's find out. As dawn broke in Onitsha, the village square, usually a bustling place full of laughter and excitement, was thick with tension. The wedding day had arrived, but the joyful energy that usually accompanied such celebrations was nowhere to be found. Instead, whispers filled the air as villagers gathered in small groups, each more eager than the last to discuss the rumors swirling around Ade's bride. In Chief Olumide's compound, the atmosphere was even worse. Kola, Ade's younger brother, paced anxiously in the courtyard, still shaken by Aunty Wura's warning about the extra demands for the bride price. He couldn't bring himself to tell his father, fearing it would only add to the confusion that had already taken hold of the village. Meanwhile, Ade, the groom-to-be, sat in a corner, looking troubled as he stared at his wedding attire, wondering if these rumors about his bride had any truth to them. Inside the chief's chambers, the elders gathered, their faces grave. Chief Olumide, usually a man of clear judgment, was visibly disturbed. This wedding is supposed to unite our village with our neighbors, yet we are now surrounded by gossip and suspicion. What are we to do? He asked, his voice heavy with frustration. The oldest elder, Babatunde, stroked his long grey beard and spoke. Chief, we cannot ignore what people are saying. If the rumors about the bride's family are true, it could bring misfortune to us all. But these are only whispers. We must find the truth. Just then, the doors to the chamber swung open and Kola burst in, his face pale. Father, there's more. I heard from Aunty Wura that the bride's family is demanding an extra goat and more gold coins. They plan to spring it on us last minute. We are being tricked. The room fell silent, and all eyes turned to the chief, waiting for his response. Chief Olumide's eyes narrowed, his face darkening. Aunty Wura again? This woman and her mouse, he muttered under his breath. He knew of her tendency to stir trouble. But could she really be behind all the confusion? Outside, Aunty Wura continued her usual routine as though nothing was amiss. She visited the market, greeted the women at the stream, and spread her newest bit of news to whoever would listen. This time, she hinted that the bride had been seen talking to an old herbalist late at night, a man rumored to practice forbidden magic. Of course, Aunty Wura didn't say this directly, she only hinted, with her usual sly grin, knowing full well how quickly her words would spread like wildfire. Back in the chief's compound, Ade couldn't take it any longer. Father, I will go to her village myself and ask for the truth. If these rumors are baseless, we must put an end to them before the wedding ceremony. If there's any truth to it, I will call off the marriage. Chief Olumide nodded. Take a few men with you. We need answers quickly. As Ade and his men set off for the neighboring village, word of their journey spread. Some villagers whispered that the wedding had already been cancelled, while others speculated that Ade was going to confront the bride's family for their deceit. All the while, Aunty Wura sat by the side of the road, enjoying a calabash of palm wine and observing the commotion. She chuckled softly to herself, knowing that her carefully planted rumors had done their work. But there was one person who had been watching Aunty Wura closely, Mama Ekene, an older woman in the village who had known Wura since they were young. She had seen how Wura's words have affected the village in the past, and she knew the kind of trouble her friend's tongue could cause. Yet, Wura had never gone this far before. That evening, Mama Ekene confronted Aunty Wura at her hut. Wura, what is it you gain from all this confusion? Every time you speak, the village falls into disarray. This wedding was meant to bring peace, and now there's nothing but chaos. Why do you do it? Aunty Wura, sipping her palm wine, looked up with a sly smile. Hi, Ekene. Life is boring without a little excitement. The people love stories, and I give them something to talk about. Besides, I never force anyone to believe what I say. They choose to spread the rumors themselves. Mama Ekene shook her head. But you know the power of your words, Wura. People believe you because you speak with such certainty. You have the gift of the tongue, but you are using it to harm, not to help. Wura's smile faded for a moment. Her eyes narrowing. Harm? I have never harmed anyone. I just stirred the pot a little. It is not my fault the village is so quick to believe everything they hear. But deep down, something in Wura's heart stirred. She knew that Mama Ekene was right. This time, the confusion had gone further than she intended. Still, her pride wouldn't let her admit it. As the night fell, Ade and his men arrived at the neighboring village, only to find something they didn't expect. The bride's family greeted them warmly, completely unaware of the rumors that had spread. Ade hesitated, unsure of how to bring up the accusations without causing offense. The elders of the bride's village invited Ade and his men to stay for the night, promising that all will be clarified in the morning. But back in Onitani, the confusion only deepened. Villagers gathered by the fire, each telling a different version of the story. Some claimed Ade had discovered the truth and would never return, while others said the bride's family had been planning a secret ritual. All the while, Aunty Wura sat silently by her fire, her face unreadable as she listened to the confusion she had set in motion. But the truth, what really happened, was something no one could have predicted. As the morning sun broke over the horizon, Ade awoke in the neighboring village, determined to uncover the truth. He approached the bride's family with a heavy heart. His mission was delicate, but if these rumors were true, his family's honor was at stake. But if they were false, he had to protect his bride from the swirling gossip back home. After a hearty breakfast, Ade gathered his courage and spoke. My elders, I come here not to offend, but to clarify. In my village, rumors have spread that your family carries a dark history and that the bride price had been secretly increased. My people are confused and divided. The bride's father, a calm and wise man, nodded and motioned for Ade to sit. We have heard none of these things, my son. In fact, we were expecting today to be one of celebration. We hold your family in high regard and we will never deceive you. To prove their goodwill, the elders invited Ade to inspect the bride's dowry and the original agreement made with his father. Everything was in perfect order. No extra demands, no hint of dishonesty. The rumors were baseless. Feeling a weight lifted off his shoulder, Ade asked to speak privately with his bride-to-be, Omotola. When they met, she was as graceful and kind as ever, her eyes filled with both sadness and hope. Ade, she began softly. I don't know where the stories about my family have come from. I promise you, there's nothing but love in my heart for you and your people. Ade smiled, his doubts finally laid to rest. I believe you, Omotola. Let us return to Onitani and put an end to this confusion once and for all. The journey back to the village was swift. But when they arrived, Ade found a village that was more divided than he had left it. The elders were in a heated debate, the women were gossiping furiously, and even children whispered about the cursed bride who might bring doom to Onitani. Determined to clear Omotola's name, Ade marched straight to the village square, where everyone had gathered to await his return. Standing tall, he called for silence. My people, he began, I have been to the bride's village and I bring back the truth. There is no curse. There are no hidden demands. Everything we have heard had been nothing but false rumors. The villagers murmured, some nodding in agreement, others still uncertain. Ade turned and pointed towards Aunty Wura, who was standing at the edge of the crowd, watching with her arms folded. It is time we acknowledge who has been sowing these seeds of confusion. Aunty Wura's eyes widened as the crowd turned towards her. For a moment, she felt the weight of her actions pressed down on her. She had always enjoyed stirring the pot, never thinking her words could lead to such chaos. But now, seeing the pain and uncertainty in her neighbors' faces, something inside her shifted. Stepping forward, Aunty Wura raised her hand. Yes, I spread some stories, but it was never meant to cause harm. I only spoke what I heard, or thought I heard, she said, her voice unsteady. But I see now that words can be like wildfires. They spread far beyond what I intended. The village elders, led by Baba Tunde, stepped forward. Wura, your mouth had always been sharp, but this time you have caused real harm. Your words nearly broke apart this wedding and brought fear into our hearts. What do you have to say for yourself? Aunty Wura looked down ashamed. I apologize. I let my love for stories get the better of me. I never meant for it to go this far. Please, forgive me. Chief Olumide, seeing the remorse on her face, sighed deeply. Wura, the power of the tongue is great. Words can build or destroy. From this day, may you use your gift to uplift, not to tear down. Aunty Wura nodded, tears filling her eyes. I will, Chief, I promised. The village began to murmur once more. But this time, it wasn't in anger or fear. There was relief in the air. Ade, taking Omotola's hand, spoke again. Let us move forward in unity. Let today be the day we celebrate, not just my marriage to Omotola, but the strength of our village to overcome confusion and division. The crowd cheered, and just like that, the village of Onitani returned to its joyful spirits. The wedding ceremony took place that evening, and it was a celebration filled with music, laughter, and love. As Ade and Omotola danced under the stars, the villagers gathered around, enjoying the peace that had finally returned. Aunty Wura, sitting quietly by the fire, watched the festivities from a distance. For the first time in a long while, she remained silent, reflecting on the power her words held. From that day forward, Aunty Wura became known not for causing confusion, but for her wisdom. She learned to weave stories that inspired, bringing the village together rather than tearing it apart. And so the village of Onitani thrived, its people united once more. And though they loved a good story, they never forgot the lesson that words, when used carelessly, could cause great harm, but when used wisely, could heal.
In the flicker of the fire chases gloom.